Okay guys, had a bit of time off due to bank holidays and also a little bit of jaw trouble. In other words, got a wisdom tooth coming through and my jaw was fucking killing me. But today, kind of getting back to the charts. I'm going to take you through kind of what I look at. There's various things I look at each day. And when you talk about homework, this is what I do. All right. So the first thing, if I flick on my charts, etc., let me just switch the calendar on, is I'll come to an economic calendar. Okay. This is the first thing I do on a morning. I look to see what is in and around the markets. Well, as we can see, there's a lot of low level. So I'm not really bothered about that. I'm not really bothered about medium level too much either. So I'll just flick a filter on. Get rid of all that low. What have we got left? Well, there's a bit of Euro news kicking about. Not really worried about that. The trade news on the pound. Not bothered about that. And then when we go into the rest of the news, there's nothing. So today is what I would call a technical day. So the next thing that I would look at is I look at the strengths. What's going on? Who's moved? Who hasn't moved? Well, the US has moved up 6 points from the last data sample. So that's going to put pressure on sort of the currencies that I look at, which is the pound and the euro. Now, both the pound and euro lost ground over the last data sample. So what you'll see is a movement there. And it's actually told you here, it's swapping direction. Now, the two that it's picking out is pound dollar, US JPY. Right, okay, so I'll keep half an eye on them because they're the majors that are there. And then the actual movers and shakers lives up here. And it's telling me that the US dollar is the strongest. Well, if that's the case, that means it's going to put pressure on gold as well. So if you're a commodity trader, you'll be able to see the pressure there. And the New Zealand, well, who trades that? No fucker, right? It's not really part of the retail market. It's institutes that trade that. So you kind of stay away from them. Couple of fact that you need to look at sort of ATRs and what have you. ATR on that particular product is incredibly low. So what's the chances of a day trade? Nil. So you go back to your majors. Which is the best of these two? Well, that's what this list's all about. This is the basket that I look at. So at the moment, if it's below an ATR of 75, don't really look at it. So that writes out the pound and the euro dollar. I don't trade them a great deal. I do when the guys in the squad ask me. And if you're welcome, come along to the squad. You'll see exactly how I do all of this. My bias tool's available to you. Go through the modules. It tells you how to get it, etc. But it's a great tool for getting your direction, helping you with your trades. I work the strength out for the guys every morning, which is what we're looking at here. But if you can't work it out yourself, just go on things like Baby Pips, investing.com. There's loads of places you can get a strength meter. I just prefer to do it myself, something that is personal to me. Now, from here, what we can see is the US JPY has a good ATR and pound US not so much. So of the two of them, US JPY is the better. Now, when we also look at this, we can see they are also the furthest apart. So that adds more weight to it. So that's primarily what I'll probably be looking at. So what I've done is I've gone through the news. Then I've come to the strength to zone in on a product that I would particularly like. And then I'll take it down into the next step, which I'll move this out the way, is I'll look at a window of the world. Now this window of the world will tell me a lot. Now here I can see the US is pushing up, which is fine because now it's telling me that the gold is coming down, green and red. One is pushing the other. Okay, is that a predominant move to the downside? No, so that could tell me that the dollar might be petering out. It might have pushed its way to the top, and when it's at the top, it's only got one way to go. But what it is showing is it is putting pressure on these two, which is why it's pushing that down. So if that's heading up there, they're coming down. Well, if that's the case, if they're coming down, that'll put pressure into the indices to move high. Now up here in this top corner, you can't quite see it because my head's there, is the S&P 500. And the S&P 500 looks like it might be green, but it's more, or red rather, but it looks more that it's pushing to the upper side. So these two could well be looking to move higher because of the weak pound and euro. Very, very simple. And then my wild cards down in the corner here. I change that periodically. It can be oil, NASDAQ, pound JPY at the moment. But I predominantly keep an eye on these six. And then I keep the S&P 500 as the barometer for the indices. Now, when you look at indices, now these are all on daily charts because I want to see the wide view. And then when I drill in, I'll drop it down onto an hour. But what you can kind of see, big push up, holding above the 50, bouncing. Again, same principle there. These are low. That means these have become cheap. They can push higher, follow the S&P 500. And then again, the dollar's moving up, putting pressure on gold. So, yeah, I think this would probably be a good contender to look at. So if I flick this over, come down, we'll take off these indicators. I don't really need them. We will find USJPY, which is here. Now, what we can see with this lot is, well, I need to do a little bit of tinkery-pokery with it now. I need to work out whether or not this is worth trading to the upside or the downside. And the way I do that is through a multi-time frame analysis. Now here, what we can see is there's a massive drop, comes down, it's pushed high, and it's now breaking through that 50, which means it could push higher. And if it is going to push higher, it's going to push higher into this. Now, how do you do that? Well, we do what's called a Kylie formation. Kylie formation, pull that down, have a look. Broke that 50, which we can clearly see here. So its next point of attraction is going to be up there. Okay, so it's going to be here. And we've also got what it's just bounced off, which is there. Okay, that's it. So you can look to buy this thing up into that yellow mark. Now, I'm just going to spend maybe it's about 10-15 minutes looking through the ultimate time frame. So I'm going to pause the camera a second and just do that, and then I'll come back because it's a bit boring for you because I'm just looking at the time frames doing exactly what I'm doing here, but making out a matrix. Catch you in a second. Okay guys, I'm back. What I've looked at, and as I suspected, this market is quite overextended at the moment. Let me kind of show you that. So what we've kind of figured out is it is a buy. As we can see here, that's the trade. It's going to be a buy. But it's extended, so it's dangerous. And as I was explaining earlier, when the dollar is being pushed right to the top, that could cause some problems for it because it's actually got nowhere else to go. So it may well return on itself, but the pressure is still there. We looked at the +1, -1, which is the multi-time frame, and we can see that it's still pretty good. So the opportunity is still there to go into market if we want to buy this thing, but we need to be very careful. All right, so that's what this is all telling me. So I'll not be looking to do big shakes out of this. So first thing I would do is I'll come to the hourly, and we've already put some of the levels in. We're going to put them all in now. So from here to here, just get hold of that, move that onto there, leave that one there. So we're happy with that. So we've got our broad stroke picture. Take this down into 15 minutes. What else have we got? Well, we've got a push here that's come down. If it's failing, it's going to start looking to pull against this move, which is pulled against this move. So what happened there? Well, again, take it as simple as possible. What we can see, went up, came down, bounced exactly on the 50, which happens to be one of the key fibs from earlier on as well, so they tie in together. It's returned back to where it came from, and if it's going to push through, it's going to look to push higher. So how high is that going to be? Well, its ultimate destination would be there. All right, so just mark that as a blue line so I can see where we're at. And I'm going to drop a little line there so we can see where that is. Right, they're all the bounce points that this particular market can work with. And we're in the zones, as we can see. All I've got to do now is figure out which ones I want to buy and sell, etc. Well, it's very simple. It looks like it's this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the highest point. We start our orders at that point, and then we're looking to get 5 pips there on. All right. It's not difficult. It's not a super hard trade to take. Just going to set that at 5 pips. Okay. Will that fit? Well, that fits easily before it gets to there. So the travel of direction for spread will be covered, and it's just got to literally go bop, get into it, happy days, and then you just reset in the next hour and see what happens. But this next hour to 2 hours, it's only willing to give about 5 pips in the direction I want to go, which is buy. And it's overextended, so I'm not going to push the board out. I'm just going to keep it relatively sedate. Now, each time that closes red, going backwards, I'll move that with it so I get a better price. And from there, we're good. So let's play it out, see how we get on. Okay guys, there you go. Got a shade better than the 5 pips we were after. Pushed up into the level that we marked out, which is here. Followed the candle, it's down, job's done. So just make certain, got no tickets, and there you go, 28 quid. So it took it about 25 minutes to do it. I'm quite happy with that. Actually, could have had more if it pushed through. But I'm not greedy. I'm not really worried. So the whole process, what you've just seen there, is basically just picking out what the best is available, figured out where the direction is going, and then just place the logical order, and that's it. Trading ain't difficult. You know, yes, I've got tools that help me, and all right, I've got a reasonable grasp of how the charts operate, but it's not that difficult, not really. The hardest part is the fact that you overtrade. You're probably looking at too low a time frame, too many products, and trying to oversize the account as well. All these different elements become sort of the perfect storm for killing your account. Now, I don't. I trade relatively small in relation to the size of the account. I trade one asset at a time, and if I've been paid, I quit. It's that simple. I'm not greedy. And if you follow that philosophy, then at the end of the month, you get paid. And if you get paid, outstanding. Invest a little bit more of that back into your account, which means the month after your position size can be slightly bigger because, again, keeping it small in relation to the account, but the account is bigger, so therefore the position size is bigger. Simple stuff. Cherish your thoughts. Anyway, as always, guys, do what you love, and the money will follow. See you all in the next one.